Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games, the Week in Games, a weekly segment I do every few weeks to tell us what's been going on in the weeks that's happened since the last week in review I did every week, but not every week. Anyway, how y'all doing? I haven't done one in a couple weeks. I seem to be coming back into full facial stead after my Frankenface accident. Thanks all of you for the well wishes. Still have those stitches in, but I was supposed to get them taken out a bit ago. Eek! Anyway, nothing new. Up in the Pacific Northwest, we have great big windstorm today. Power's flickering. This is very rare to have a windstorm with gusts up to 50 miles an hour and inches of snow in the passes this late in May. Usually that's something for other parts of the country, but today I guess we got a treat. I'm going to leave my glasses on today because I've gotten to the point now where I can barely read anything. And so you get to deal with the glare. Let's just do that. How's that? Is that better? Is that sound better? What do you say, kids? Anyway, I might take them off. It's starting to annoy me. Anyway, hope you all are doing well. We're heading into the end of May, into June. We're getting into summer season. Summer means outdoor gaming or outdoor yard work. My grass is now 17.5 inches high, and once it stops raining, I will try and actually mow it. It's never been a good lawn mowing game before. Anyway, let's get to the news. All right. Last time we did the news, I talked to you about Euthia, Torment of Resurrection. This was an awesome game, chock filled with stuff that had an expansion that was more costly than the original, actually, but came almost as a second game unto itself. Well, I am here to report to you that that all went south in a hurry. I backed it, and then it got backed out of so stinking quick. They made there's a lot of money pledged, but somehow, some way, they needed backer count rather than money. I don't even want to get into it, whatever. But it sounds like that's just not going to happen. Fortunately, there's a ton of content already in the base game, but I guess the Kickstarter was lots of torment, but no resurrection of this franchise in the near future. Ah, que sera. In other news, and the only little bit of news that I could find was that Azul is going to have a reprint of sorts called Azul Master Chocolatier, where originally I was thinking they were sort of tiles you were laying out for the ground. Now they're pieces of chocolate. I do not like games that make me hungry. Chocolate makes me hungry. That said, I have confirmed that this is not in fact an edible legacy game. Sadness abounds. Anyway, that's it. Let's get to my question of the week. Okay, the question I get, and this is one I've actually gotten from people lately, it's basically, it's about Monopoly. There was someone who they didn't understand why people didn't like, why Monopoly was always the brunt and the butt of many unkind remarks and jokes. Like, what is wrong with Monopoly? These are people getting into, and I gotta admit, like, the Monopoly topic is one where, depending on who you talk to, it can be wildly waving. And honestly, I don't hate Monopoly. I don't really hate it at all. I remember it as a game that I played a lot growing up, but even then, even as I was playing as a kid, there was a sweet spot in the game, and then there was a lot of extra time that wasn't very compelling. The funnest time was when you actually managed to hit and get a property and buy. The buying property phase, which is like one section of the game, was fun. Ooh, I own that property. Ooh, I own that property. Then that kind of phase got, as properties got eaten up, I was like, nah, then it just became, even then it was kind of boring to me. That said, I don't hate the game at all, and I think some of the reasons for that is that, again, like, people grew out of it, or they tasted something better. The other thing is the game wasn't always played by the rules. Lots of house rules extended the game. That's fun when you're just in it for the house rules, or just, wacky, having a time, having some central point of connection, and the actual fun is messing around with your friends. And then there's the idea that sometimes it's fun to pig pile. It just is. Like, as a kid, I got lots of pig piled on. But that I'm not a big fan of. Like, it's, you know, it's a game. It's not meant to offend. But that said, I mean, to everything there is a season. You know, I used to microwave everything I ever ate. Now I got an air fryer and I use that. I used to drive, you know, my rundown Chevy Chevette. Now I'm pampered with heated seats and windshield wipers that actually work. You know, I spent hours on a rotary phone, you know, talking with my team friends. Now I have a cell phone that plays Minecraft. You know, there's a time and place, and I think that Monopoly had its time and place, and it still does in the mainstream. So I would never hate on it. I would probably not play it. Even if I was invited to at this point, I'd be like, nah, it's okay. I'll watch and find bemusement in your amusement. But yeah, there's very few things in life that are perpetual and perennial favorites across the chasm. Some are, you know, I still like Frasier, I still like SpongeBob, I still like Lord of the Rings. You know, but some stuff, it comes, it amuses, and then it leaves, and that's Monopoly to me. So that's the long version. What are you guys thinking on that? Let's get to my 3 games. Alright, game number 1. Roll Camera. I've been looking at this one for a long time. It's a filmmaking board game done by someone who clearly has a love of filmmaking. Now, whether it's any good or not, we will find out, but it's cooperative. The idea is you're trying to, you know, the lights are melting, camera assistant ran off, blah, 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 blah. You know, roll the camera and make this movie. You got to make this movie. So, haven't even opened it yet. We'll find out if it's any good. Stoked for this baby. Almoravid. This is the second in the Levian campaign series done by Volker Runke. This is, Hispania, 1085. So you're basically dealing with the Christian kings and squabbling Taifa emirs. And in the same fashion, it's very meticulous. There's a lot going on. It's not memoir 1085 at all. There's just, if it's anything like Nevsky, and it looks like it is, it's going to be a hit in my house once I grok it. And finally, I have the original Eclipse, Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Anyway, Eclipse is huge. It is epic. And why I bought it, I'm not really sure, because I don't generally have a ton of people playing it. I have the original Eclipse and I liked it, but it was really, there's a ton of pieces in it, ton of stuff going on. This baby has, oh my gosh, like, it's got custom boards and custom mats and stuff to make the experience much easier. The question is, how am I going to get people over to play it? And who's going to give me my hernia surgery? Alright, that's it for 3 games. Let's get to Tim Machine. The year is 2007. That's right. This is the year of the steroid scandal in American baseball. And as time goes on, I still remember that. My son was heavily playing baseball at the time, so I was keeping a little better track on it than now. Not going to lie, basketball is my passion, baseball not so much. But it was an interesting thing that kind of tore away the romanticized version of American baseball a bit. I don't know. I'd love to see if people... I got quite a few people that coach and play, and I'd love to hear kind of what they thought on it. Because to me, I was distanced enough from it that to me it was a story, but I'd be curious. I mean, you know, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, I really like those guys, and so yeah, let me know, you guys. What'd you think of the scandal? Overblown, or was it a legitimate issue that really kind of, you know, messed with the game? So anyway, the top movie is The Departed. What is it, the last 3 years I've done, like, times I've done this, and I don't even remember seeing any of these movies. I clearly have a cinematic deficiency. The song was Irreplaceable by Beyonce. It's not Bianca, as my kids have reminded me well in the past. The book was 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. That one actually is on my queue to read. I'm reading quite a few things right now, quite a few books. I'm reading one on the Google cloud computing. Riveting, just riveting. when the main characters die in a technical manual, it just breaks your heart. So anyway, what did I play the most? Well, this was the year of Race for the Galaxy, which I played a bunch. Even my wife played this one, and it had iconographic overload galore. It was not an easy one to grok, but after playing it a few times, she got it. It was really, really, I use really a lot. It was an expressly good game. That came out. There's been a lot of expansions since then, and there's Roll for the Galaxy and such, but this one in its purest form is very, very cool. So what were the top games that I played in 2007? Well, I still played a lot of Twilight Struggle, because I always do. I could probably say that every year. 1960 was the presidential race. It was sort of a little more streamlined version with the Twilight Struggle kind of contention. I liked it, but it was nothing like Twilight Struggle to me. Age of Empires 3, which was not just a real-time strategy game put onto a board. It had some definite smarts to it, so I played that. And Cutthroat Caverns was kind of the fun at the time, which that one's still fun at the time. Like, everybody beats on a monster, but the one who does the damage last wins, kind of thing. So, what game would I have bought then if I'd known then what I know now? Brass. Brass is still big. It's still got reprint after reprint. Brass Birmingham, blah blah blah, etc. What game was a colossal flop? Oh, I told myself I wasn't going to do this category because I didn't want to be a downer, but I wrote it on my list, so I'm going to say it anyway. It was Phoenicia by Tom Lehman, a game that didn't seem to be complete. I didn't understand it. It had a ton wrong. I was reading up on it later in Board Game Geek, and even the designer was like, it seemed like he had distanced himself from it a bit, so whatever. But he's done so many good games since then. I still have the copy somewhere here, but I don't know that I ever pull it out and play again. All right, let's get to top stories of 2008. Our story is the first elected African-American president, obviously. 2008 was President Obama. The top movie was Eat, Pray, Love. Haven't seen it. Still made fun of it quite a bit. I had fun with that. My wife liked it. And of course, everything became me joking about stuff like that. Anyway, the song of the year was Low by Florida. Yeah, I'm just getting out of my league here. The book was Christmas Sweater by Glenn Beck. I think I read a few pages of that, but I don't recall. So, what game did I play the most? Well, this was the year that really started my Dominion craze. And this is one where my wife and I have played probably 500 games of this in real life in the years that have gone by. We just loved it. We loved yeah. I remember going to family Bible camp, came back, picked it up on the way home, and then played it. I'm like, oh, I get this first deck builder that I really got into. So, yep, top games there were Stone Age. Who doesn't remember the Stinky Cup? Cosmic Encounter. Played a lot of that at work. And Maneuver, which was from GMT Games, which was this sort of like chess with real-world armies kind of thing. What game would I have bought then if I'd known then what I know now? Fields of Fire, because maybe by now I could have mastered the manual. Looking forward to Fields of Fire's 3rd edition rulebook. Not because the manual's bad, just it's a lot for my brain to grok. So, and what game was... one more colossal flop. Ticket to Ride, the card game. If you thought Ticket to Ride was cool, the card game is the opposite of that. And that's it. That's what we got for this week. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.